Hello po. Nakikita niyo po yung
Yes,
screen natin.
sir.
Okay. So, we now move on to the review. For question 1, this speaks about the part of the DepEd vision, mission, and core values framework that Mrs. Lopez demonstrate and teach among her grade 6 learners about the term Filipinos who passionately love their country and realize their full potential. Where can you find that? Is it on mission, vision, core values, or the core value of Makatao? Our answer here is on vision. That's 89% of you got the correct answer. Developing the Filipinos who love their country and contribute meaningfully in building the nation. 89% got it right. However, there were answers also on core value of makakalikasan, none from the mission, and on core value. May question po ba? May nag-raise ba ng hand? Please open your mic. I cannot see kapag nag-share po ako ng slide. Please feel free to open your microphone so that you'll be acknowledged. Okay? For question 2, malaw ba? Hindi yata gumagalaw pag dito. Ito na lang tayo sa answers review. Okay. It appears here those who were able to get the correct answer. No? The names of those participants who were able to achieve the correct answer. Now we move on to question 2. And the answer key is on letter D. A school head implemented a new policy ensuring the classrooms are safe, gender sensitive, and child friendly. Which element of the DepEd mission does this practice uphold? Is it on teachers facilitating learning, administrators ensuring an enabling environment, stakeholders promoting the lifelong learners, or students learning in a safe and motivating environment? Okay, definitely the answer is on D, when it talks about a safe classroom, a gender sensitive, and a child friendly. Okay, the list of the names in green are those who were able to get the correct answer. Question 3. In science, learners conducted a waste segregation activity. Of course, that's makakalikasan. Definitely sana 100% ito. Mr. Torres, a junior high school teacher, dedicates extra hours tutoring struggling learners. He believes that every child has the right to succeed regardless of their socio-economic status. So which DepEd mission best reflects Mr. Torres' action? Yes. Teachers facilitate learning and nurture the learners. It's not talk about administrators, not about family and community, or students learn in a safe environment, but helping those struggling learners are part of nurturing our learners. Next, question 5. A school implements the feeding program in partnership with the LGU that addresses malnutrition, which supports DepEd alignment with the government's broader educational goals. So what program reflect here? Okay, it fulfills the mission of inclusive, equitable education by addressing the disadvantaged learners' needs. Okay, who are the disadvantaged learners here? Those who are suffering from malnutrition. Okay? Severely wasted or undernourished children. Question 6 on DepEd conducts the national survey on parent satisfaction with the school's ability to uphold core values and provide safe learning environment. What monitoring approach does this demonstrate? Okay, when we talk about parent satisfaction, it's not about curriculum standards, teachers' professional training, or internal audit of funds, but it talks about stakeholders because our parents are our stakeholders. Okay, it's on B. During Independence Day, a school head activities emphasizes the feeling of patriotism, history awareness, and national unity that all talks about being makabansa as core values. Okay? Not makadiyos, not even makatao or makakalayaan, but the core values speaks about makabansa or nationalism. Okay, next on question 8. DepEd launched the program Indigenous Peoples Learners Receive Culture-Based Education. Okay, what part of the vision and mission that is appearing on the mission? Equitable culture-based basic education. Yeah. It's in letter A. May I see those who were able to get the correct answer? Very good. Majority of you, walang red. Next, for question 9. During the policy review meeting, the superintendent emphasized that the new guidelines must only be approved if supported by a valid research findings or reliable data. Which principle of DepEd Order number 13, 2015 best demonstrate this case? Okay, it is demonstrated when policies are crafted with research-based evidence to ensure that the recommendations are not based merely on your assumptions, but it should be grounded on facts. Okay, all policies or DepEd issuances should have been validated in the grassroots level or within your school level so that they know that those revisions, okay, those policy revisions and reenactment or enhancement should have been made by virtue of your observations and comments and analysis. Hindi dapat ay kung anong gusto nila, yun yung mabago. No? Should be grounded by empirical data. That is called valid research. Kailangan pumunta sila to know the findings. Okay? I see only one who have a red in color here. Then we go to 10th question. A principal organized focus group discussions with parents, teachers, and learners before drafting the school's child protection policy. Which key feature of the debit policy development process is applied in this situation? So the answer is it is applied when stakeholders are engaged through participatory consultation to strengthen the legitimacy of decisions and foster shared ownership. Okay. So mas validate, mas proven kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng focus group discussion so that we'll know and we've got to listen all the sides, no? All the angles. While in B, it applied when proposals are written entirely in the policy development. Kapag nasulat na ba yung proposal, that's the only time that we're going to do the focus group discussions. Anong mangyayari sa proposal kung wala muna siyang participatory consultation? That's the first thing that you should do in a development process of a policy. Decisions are finalized. Letter C, hindi na po pwede. And feedback is collected after the final approval ay malayo na pong mangyari ang revisions. Okay? Remember that the policy should have been given consultation first before it's being revised and finalized. Next, a proposal of a school-based disaster risk reduction program was drafted by the Division Policy Development Team, validated by the stakeholders, and presented for higher level approval. What stage of the policy development here is illustrated when there is already a draft policy validated and presented. So the answer is on C, no? It is the stage where the policy proposals are already submitted to DepEd Secretary or authorized officials for the official approval and formal endorsement to the higher level approval. Okay, who will approve a policy, of course, is the head of the entire agency. Remember, my dear friends, when we enact a policy guidelines should be emanated from the central office. We're not allowed to develop our own policy when it comes to decisions such as grading system, okay, all those major activities, programs, and projects of the department, we're not allowed to twist the policy. Okay, every DepEd orders, DepEd guidelines should have been emanated from the central office. We are only to provide a suggestions or recommendations. The final say will always go to the head of the agency. Okay naman yung mga policy natin na sa school policies, no? Just like the attendance sheet, speaking the language policy, uniform, but meron tayong specific, no, na design policy dyan governed by the central office. Next, after approval, the DepEd issued a memorandum, now uploaded guidelines on the official website and distributed a copy to the schools nationwide. What step of the policy process now is an example of, yes, it's already disseminated, no? The term is dissemination, where the directives are formally communicated across various channels to ensure the wide awareness of the policy. That's why in the end, no, the very last part of any DepEd order, DepEd memorandum, or policy advisory will always speaks about widest dissemination of this memorandum or this DepEd order is enjoined, signed the director or the DepEd secretary. Question 13. A division office monitored whether all schools followed the new learning recovery guidelines and reported challenges during the quarterly evaluation meeting. Which DepEd process does this demonstrate? Okay. When you conduct a monitoring, no, that is about monitoring and evaluation, where the implementation of policies is checked to assess the compliance and identify the changes for improvement. So it says there, the division office monitored whether all schools followed the new learning recovery. Okay, they do conduct MNE. Now, the term is MNE or monitoring and evaluation. They do have a checklist to follow whether it's evident or not evident. For item 14, after the feedback of the teachers, DepEd revised the guidelines on blended learning to address gaps in internet connectivity and learner success. So which now is the step of the policy cycle is being followed. So all the teachers had their feedback that they would want to revise the guidelines, no? Based on blended learning. Okay, what would be the alternatives of conducting a blended learning as an offshoot of pure online, no? So the moment that it's being revised and revoked or altered or tawag dito, amended, The term is it is being reviewed and updated on the stage where the policies are revised based on the monitoring results and feedback to improve the relevance and effectiveness of the policy. Okay, the policy will not end there. There should have been a focused group discussions or consultations after the implementation of the policy, whether nagkaroon ba ng improvements sa learning. Okay, what's the impact or the extent of the policy? For item 15, the DepEd developed policies on career guidance in coordination with the CHED and TESDA to support the K-12 curriculum. What does this reflect in compliance with DO 13 series of 2015? A. The answer is A. It reflects the alignment with the national goals through interagency coordination and ensuring that education policies are harmonized across the government. Okay, what are the coordinating agencies or interagencies that are being coordinated that are aligned with the program implementations? Of course, the CHED and TESDA in tandem with DepEd, no, in the realization of the national goals. B, it reflects stakeholders' engagement through consultation with families and teachers, guaranteeing contextual accuracy of interventions. Family, yan, it can be no through career guidance. However, who are the interagency that actually help and promote career guidance? No, it reflects monitoring and reporting through periodic evaluation and ensuring intended learning outcomes. Walang stakeholder. It reflects internal consistency. Internal, so meaning you are not needing the coordination of interagencies. Therefore, letter A reflects compliance with interagencies. Next, question 16. Barangay officials, parents, and civic groups participated in Brigada Escuela, contributing resources and labor for school maintenance. While principle of the policy development process does this activity illustrates okay, contribution of resources and labor that illustrates a community involvement where the schools mobilize the local stakeholders and contribute directly in the implementation of our DepEd initiatives. Okay, great. Majority are looking at the correct answer. Next, the Regional Curriculum Development Council reviewed the draft policies and recommended revisions based on local education needs. What is the mechanism? Okay, it's the establishment of consultative bodies where councils provide feedback and guidance to strengthen the policy quality and contextual relevance. Okay. If you talk about mechanisms, pag sinabing mechanisms, who are the key players of the program, no? Who are the key players of the program? What they do in terms of the development process or implementation process. Of course, kung meron tayong Regional Curriculum Development Council, they are a body that establish the consultative, okay? They do consultative conference when it comes to the various policies and recommendations. In letter A, it reviewed the stage where monitoring reports are assessed. Who conducts the monitoring reports is on the regional and school level, no? They are to provide the inputs and suggestions to the regional level. So it's in a mostly the one on this level of governance is the school and the division. Next, It is the process of approval where policy drafts are endorsed by the higher ranking officials. This is in the central office, not in the regional office. Next, it is the stage of policy dissemination through a memo. Okay, this is also in the central office. So the answer here is on the establishment of a consultative body where the council provide feedback and guidance to strengthen the policy quality and the contextualization. No, it's the regional office actually who provide the contextualization. What do we mean by contextualization? Okay, what is suited into your context into the regional setup is being given in lieu of the regional office. Yan. Kasi may mga policy na hindi talaga siya swak sa national level to the regional. Kaya nagkakaroon ng policy revisions and contextualization in the regional level. DepEd ensured that teachers, parents, and learners were represented in consultation for new digital literacy. Its policy is highlighted. New digital policies highlights the inclusivity and participation by engaging multiple stakeholders to ensure that the policies address the diverse needs and perspectives. Okay? Considering the lenses of the teachers, the lens of the parents, and the learners. Administrative control, hindi. Selective implementation of piloting, hindi rin. Highlight centralized decision, hindi rin. Okay? Participatory ang tawag dyan, no? You invite all the lenses. Question 19. A division office organized quarterly school visits to verify the learning recovery policy is being followed. Pusnada natin to, no? Monitoring and evaluation. 20. To measure the success of the new nutrition policy, DepEd administered questionnaires to parents, teachers, and learners. Okay? It's the use of a survey and assessment. A questionnaire is a survey. So it's letter B. Research studies were longitudinal track. We talk about longitudinal track. This is a tawag ditong research na to. Tracer study, no? We talk about tracer study. There is a long-term analysis of the data. But if it is a short questionnaire only, it's a survey in its nature. Monitoring reports for supervisory regularly compile compliance findings and present them in policy adjustment. Okay, more specific is on a survey. Next, 21. The DepEd Central Office examining trends on graduation rates, dropout, national assessment results. This is an application of a method of research study or pilot. Okay, actually, all schools are being given results or sinasummarize natin ang graduation rates, dropout. So it's not a pilot program anymore. It's a method of monitoring and evaluation where field observe school practices to determine the accuracy and completeness. Okay, we don't conduct monitoring and evaluation on graduation rates. These are actual data. Dropout, we don't monitor and evaluate. No, there is a submission that is EBEIS where we input all of these results. A method of stakeholder engagement where collaborative meeting this incorporate. Okay, that would be the final part, no consultation. However, the answer is a method of data analysis. No? So we look into the quality and quantity of your graduation rate, promotional rate, cohort survival rate. These are all indicators that assess your progress in your own school. Next, before revising the senior high school guidelines, DepEd commissioned a comprehensive study on global curriculum models and their impact on employability. Which evaluation approach is used? Okay, the approach is research and study, where the evidence is gathered through a systematic investigation to inform the future adjustments and refinement. Okay? Good naman ang mga answers nyo. What form of evaluation is reflected on the learners and teachers invited on a series of public consultation? Pare-parehas lang nagre-revolve, no, on feedbacking. Which approach addresses the case on policy recommendation where identified difficulties with insufficient teaching resources, prompting immediate consultation with teachers to design a responsive strategy. Okay, approach of stakeholder engagement where insights are gathered from educators to ensure that the solution respond to the direct classroom realities. When issues of the learners' absenteeism persisted, DepEd formed a task force to analyze the cause, considering possible solutions and implemented targeted interventions. Which method answers the challenge? Represents a problem solving and decision making where systematic steps are used to identify the cause, design strategies, and implement appropriate actions. So this already completes the process of SWOT analysis, no, on learners absenteeism. It represents monitoring and reporting where periodic documentation is submitted to higher authorities for review and oversight. It's not an monitoring and evaluation with a checklist, no. There is actually a data already presented. Do not go there to check and monitor, no. It represents stakeholders consultation. Okay, there is no consultation being done because there is actually a results already. It represents a technical assistance and training. Okay, do we need a training for absenteeism? No. So the answer is a direct problem solving and decision making approach will do, no, to combat problem on absenteeism. Because in an absenteeism, it could be a problem of one specific school only and the other school is not, no. It's granular when it comes to results. Okay, congratulations sa ating mga top scorers. I will just be sharing the results and results na bukas.